Hey everyone, so following up from the previous video on narcissism, I'm now going to talk about what to do once you've identified one in your life. How do we then start healing from that? So the first thing that you want to do in this situation is develop an understanding of how this person is going to play a role in your life. Sometimes we've talked about this before. Boundaries are necessary when we're dealing with this type of personality, right? This person struggles with boundaries. They often don't understand other people's boundaries. They don't respect boundaries. So you have to put them down yourself in a way that you're comfortable. And this can be difficult when you're dealing with family members. They can be people that are close to you. It could be even friendships. You have to see, depending on where the person is on the scale of narcissism and how it's impacting your life, whether this is even an individual that you can keep in your life and have, at a healthy distance. And unfortunately, sometimes the relationship can be so damaging that cutting it off and having those distinct boundaries of, I actually don't want you in my life and I don't want to see you in my life, is what you need to then start the healing process. So step one is realize, obviously, who that individual is and the role that they're playing in your life. Step two is create the appropriate boundary that you feel is feasible for your healing. If you are in a situation, again, where you feel like you're constantly dealing with the trauma of it and it's damaging you, then you have to be realistic about whether keeping this individual in your life is actually healthy for you, because the next step in healing is moving into a place where you're not being damaged anymore. And if you have that external factor where you're constantly being hit and your ego and your self-esteem and you're being gaslit, well, then it's really hard to differentiate while you're in that situation. It's really hard to start the healing process. So handle that person and that boundary and whatever that looks like to you. Like I said, that can be moderate distance, that can be minimal contact, that can be significant boundaries, and that can be completely taking that person out of your life. So that's step two. Step three is now moving into healing. So when we're talking about healing, and I touched on this a little bit in the first video, we're talking about our solar plexus, right? Our solar plexus is our foundation of our self-esteem, our self-worth. It's how we feel about our identity and our ego, and it's how we feel about ourselves in relation to other things, right? So it's our power center, it's our empowerment center. And I talked about this in the previous video. When we're dealing with a narcissistic individual, we get hit in that power center where we feel guilt, we feel shame, we feel responsible for other people's actions, and we start to degrade our sense of self because this person, like I said, comes from that superiority complex where we feel very inferior. And when you feel inferior, you're feeling less than, you're feeling not enough, you're feeling unworthy. And those are the paradigms and the ideas that you start to play out in your life, because this person is constantly reinforcing that messaging that you are not enough and that you are not worthy. And that's what you start to develop. So step one is realizing which triggers you're holding on to or which wounds you're holding on to. So what I want you to do is have a journal. You can pause this video, come back to it. I want you to start breaking down those parts of your identity that have been damaged, right? Because we are enough, we are worthy, we are amazing, we are powerful individuals. So my question to you is my exercise for you is to start to break down where you've been hit, what is out of balance. And the way that we're going to do this, so what I do want you to understand is that there's two aspects of the mind, right? There's the conscious mind, which is what we go through in day-to-day life. And that can conflict with our subconscious programs. So like I said, the conscious mind is what's aware of the situation. It's the rationalization as to why people have certain behaviors, and it's kind of the forefront for our identity. So what I do see sometimes is a confliction between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is the true identity of what we believe, right? And the conscious mind can almost protect us. It's like an ego protector. It's like, no, I definitely think I'm good. I definitely think I'm confident. I definitely think I'm enough. But then when we go into those subconscious programs that have the trauma and the wounds, we realize that there's a deeper paradigm that's at play. We realize that there actually is that wound of not feeling good enough. We feel like there is that wound of not feeling worthy. And the best way to kind of pull this apart is to ask yourself, what do I get triggered about? So when I'm in confrontation, or, it could be something as easy as like, I don't enjoy confrontation, or when somebody says this, I feel this. So what I want you to do in your journal is I want you to start to look at your triggers and evaluate yourself. Where are these paradigms? Where are these programs? What am I getting triggered about? What is the underlying trigger of that? And try and uncover it. Is it a worth issue? Is it a shame issue? Is it not feeling good enough? Is it low self-esteem? What is that blanket that is underneath it all? And once you've done that, you can come back to this video. So now that we have our core triggers, we can start to work on them. So going back to the conscious mind and the subconscious mind works by reprogramming and repetition. So what I do is I work a lot with affirmations. So affirmations are I am statements. So it's the I am enough, I am worthy, I am happy, I am thriving, I am empowered. So there's a lot of different ways that you can create these I am statements. Now, the interesting part here is that you will see the conflict, and this is how I get to the root of what the conscious mind says versus what the subconscious mind says. So if I say, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, and I pay attention to that feeling in my body. So if I pay attention to how I actually feel about that, you're gonna notice that some of these statements feel good, and some of them, your initial thought will be, oh, that's not true, or I don't believe that, or that's, something that like it's conflicting. So you're gonna notice that confliction. So if you say, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, continue saying that statement and then pay attention to how that feels in your body. So like I said, if you're unsure about it, or if you feel like it's not true, that's actually very powerful, because now we have an understanding of what your subconscious mind is actually truly thinking. So anytime something feels uncomfortable, it's because we've come into contact with something that is conflicting with the subconscious belief. So your subconscious belief in this situation would be that I am not enough. And then when you say I am enough, we're putting that into the conscious mind, we're triggering that neural pathway, and it's conflicting with, no, actually, this is my belief that I'm not enough, so why are you saying this? This is weird, right? But as we start to say, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, we use that repetition over time to overpower the neural network that says, I am not enough. And what you'll realize is that the more that you start to do this, the more that you become comfortable with a statement, your neural patterns and your programs will start to change. So you'll start to say, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, and it will feel true to you. When it feels true to you, when it feels natural, that's when you know that this neural pathway has made a switch. What I do want you to be mindful of is that this does take time. So it's not something that you're gonna do overnight. It's not something that you're gonna say 5 times and you're gonna believe that you're enough. These neural pathways are very deep, and depending on where they started, it's usually childhood. They've compounded over a series of events and a series of times. So you are going to have to reinforce it, that level and that amount. So this can take time. It takes persistence. What I do recommend is doing it daily if you can, or at least a couple times a week where you're sitting, you're verbalizing that. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes. There's great YouTube resources that have these affirmations available that you can listen to. So those are resources that I use in my clinical practice as well. So your job here is to figure out what statements. I am worthy is another one. I am powerful. I am releasing all shame around X. It could be like around this situation, around this person that I'm dealing with. I'm releasing all shame around bullying. I release all embarrassment around bullying. Play with different statements that involve your solar plexus. So like I said, this is embarrassment, shame, worth, not enough, not feeling good, not being worthy, around those ideas. And you're going to find your triggers. So that is step 1 in moving in the direction of healing. And as you can see, step 1 involves you, right? So it involves understanding you, yourself, your traumas, your triggers, so that you can essentially build up self-trust and self-esteem where you know who you are as an individual outside of what this person has done, the damage that they've created, so that you can step into yourself and step into your power in a way that you deserve, right? Because we all deserve to be ourselves, we all deserve to love ourselves, and we all deserve to live in our highest good, our highest power, and our empowered state. So that is the video for today. If you liked it, let me know. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment. I would love to know what you think of this content, and I will be following up with more videos on narcissism.